Okay, so I should be presenting the things for Isha Munshi ji.
Yes.
This slide visible?
Yes.
Okay, that's wonderful. So, very good evening, everyone. You can start the recording, Mukulda.
Sorry.
You can start the recording if it's not on.
Yes, I have yeah, started it.
You have started, right? So, very good evening, everyone. We are again on the same channel, as Jungle Chimes, 23rd June 2024. And today we are coming up with a very, very fantastic concept, that is Feather Library. So, Feather Library again means by Isha Munshi ji, who has been the founder of Feather Library. What is Feather Library and how the idea came and all will be taken care of in the session. So, as far as Isha ji concerned, she has observed around 1,086 species of birds in the Indian subcontinent and 1,500 plus worldwide, and recorded the sounds of the over 700 bird species. That phenomenal. मतलब, इतना बड़ा कैसे कोई कर सकता है? That is very, very surprising. So it's really a matter of pride that we are having Isha ji on our channel. And again, we as Exploring Natures, we have different brand partners, as you can see on the board: Jais, Sisti, Gitzo, Nikon, GoPro, Manfrotto, V Naturalist. So we are having a very good presence of different leading partners who are there, and we have Anjali Singh as marketing specialist. Then, as far as Exploring Nature is concerned, we are a wildlife consulting company, as many of the people know here, and we always try to have hands of different people who are actually interested in the natural world, understanding what is nature, how nature works, what are its rhythms and cycles. So we are building up a community worldwide for a sustainable and harmonious coexistence between humanity and nature. So we have obviously a vision to create a world where every individual actually cherishes the beauty of nature and recognizes the importance of protecting nature's novelty. And which mission is to inspire and educate people, individuals, to cherish the beauty of nature and create mass awareness. Therefore, we aspire to have a future where every decision and action is driven by conservation principles. So we extend the invitation to everyone. Come, let us join for this journey of exploration, understanding, and commitment. And as far as different platforms are concerned, under the banner of Exploring Natures, we have Jungle Chimes, a regular talk show. We are on the same channel here right now. Then we have Whispering Wilds, which is a wildlife magazine. This is about to create awareness about nature and educate people, right? So we are into it, and this magazine actually showcases the stories of individuals, what they have done. Then it also showcases the photographs and whatever the things people have accomplished on this channel, on this magazine. And we, as a consulting in the company, we do nature trails and photo walks. We introduce wildlife photography as a hobby and a career to the students across schools and colleges. Then we do conduct wildlife photography workshop. Then we do the basic and advanced level of these kind of workshops. Then we have wildlife boot camps to do, wildlife journalism to explore, wildlife photography expeditions and field camps to be there. Then we have wildlife consultancies that we offer to the national parks. We give consultancy for the environmental projects. We promote wildlife tourism in collaboration with premium resorts and homestays. So, lot many things we are up to, and definitely we like to send the invitation to everybody across who are there on this platform right now, and who are those who are not. Come join us, and again we can do the wonders. As far as nature trails and photo walks are concerned, it is like 2 to 4 hours of duration, and its main concept is to understand and we to be aware of the coexistence of the humans and coexistence with the nature. Then nature stays and photo walks. These are the glimpses that we had done. This was done at City Park, Bokaro Steel City, Jharkhand on 2nd October 2023. Then it was widely covered in the different media channels. Some of the glimpses here. Then we have full day workshop for wildlife photography and as wildlife as a career. Right. Then again we have done this, and the glimpses very much prove that. And we have been widely covered by leading newspapers, leading channels across India. Then we have basic wildlife photography, that is a whole day program. Then we have wildlife photography workshop, that is at the advanced level, which is about 2 to 3 day full day program. Then we have wildlife boot camp, that is a 5 days program which covers a wide range of topics related to wildlife biology, ecology, conservation, and management, as well as practical skills such as field techniques, data collection, and analysis. Then again, as I told, wildlife consultancy is one key concept. We, as a consultant, play a very critical role in understanding and managing wildlife populations and their habitats. And typically we have different experts, and we provide expert advice, solutions, and management strategies to individuals, organization, government agencies, forest people, right, on different topics that are related to wildlife conservation, management, and research. Then again, wildlife consultancy, the duration is like 3 months to 3 years as per the cases, and we have done it for different wildlife parks and all. Then again, the media coverage and photographs, if you see here. Then we have 15 days to 1 month program for creating digital content, long-term collaboration for 3 years. That is mainly aimed at promoting wildlife tourism. Again, this is very important, learning and earning livelihood for the people there. So we are into it, and we are regularly going to do that. And now coming to the main part of the show, we again welcome Isha Munshi ji, that is a guest of honor today. And this is Feather Library. Feather Library is the first website in India and the world to document, identify, and study Indian birds' flight feathers. She has come up with the website that is called www.featherlibrary.com, that has been set up as a database for the documented feathers, and it's open to everyone. Everyone can have easy access to the feather plates, data regarding the species, wingspan, number of feathers, various other measurements and bird locations. This can be very, very useful for the ornithologists, forest department staff, researchers, students, seasoned wild watchers, and again, it's going to create an interest in the budding birders. So the main aim is to have all of this data under one roof, and our long goal is to expand and gradually cover all of India. So that is a very, very mammoth talk that Isha Mushti has taken, and we definitely compliment her from the core of our hearts that she has taken such a wide, great initiative. And again, we welcome her. As far as Isha Mushidi is concerned, she is a former architect and now dedicated to the Federal Library as her initiative for the Indian birds. And as I told earlier, that she has observed around 1,086 species of bird in the Indian subcontinent. And if we go across, then it is around 1,500 worldwide species that she had observed and recorded the sounds of over 700 bird species. She is also the annotator of sounds for the Merlin App. She completed her ornithology courses in 2021. Presently, she is the Associate Editor of Birds at the National Center of Biological Sciences in Bangalore. So we are really proud to have here. And again, now I present the thing, hand over the whole show to the Isha Munshi ji. Now she can take up the show, please.
Excuse me.
Yes.
We would like to invite Anjali ma'am
Okay.
from Zayas to say few words, and then we proceed with the program.
Okay, further.
Anjali ma'am, please.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you, Mukulji, for handing it
ma'am,
over.
you
Thank you
can
so
share
much.
your screen.
Okay. Let me
Satinder
know
ji,
if it's
Hmm. Yes, I have stopped presenting. Right. Hmm.
Is it visible now?
Hmm.
Uh, no, ma'am.
Mm, I'm just having some issue with my laptop, it seems. Just give me 1 second. Mukulji, it seems I have some network
Okay.
problem.
Ma'am, you can be on the camera and you can say something.
Yeah, yeah, sure. Let me know if I am visible. Hi, thank you for inviting Kalzas. I would appreciate giving us this opportunity. I'll give a 5 minutes brief about Kalzas, what we are and what do we do. So Kalzas is a German brand company. We are a leading brand in optics industry. It was founded in Germany by Carl Zeiss itself. The founder was Carl Zeiss. We have been in this industry since 176 years. And the major part for nature observation, our role in nature observation is the binocular, which we manufacture and which we cater all over India, globally, in fact. And we have different range of binoculars, starting from Terra to Pacific and Conquest and Victory, which helps you birder and nature observants to identify the birds, identify the animals, identify the wildlife, and our main agenda over here is to be a part of this community, to grow with this community. And one of the main thing which we have launched recently, which is trap camera. We just launched last week, and if I would able to share the screen, I would have showed you. It was a nice event, and we have done our first launch in Jim Corbett. Going forward, we'll be doing it our workshop pan India, and I would really like all of you to join us, be a part of our community, and grow with us. Thank you, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Anjali ji. Hmm. Okay. Thank you, Anjali ji. And now again, I invite Isha Munshi ji to take up the show, please.
Hello, everyone. Um, Thank you for having me here. Um, it's really good to be with you guys. And yeah, I have been using Zayas, so I can vouch for that. Uh, and that's what I have. It's been in my kit for many years now. So yes. Um as you guys introduced me, I have been bird watching for many years. I started with bird photography, then I shifted to bird watching, then I shifted to sound recording of birds, and then during lockdown, I started my bird biology course in ornithology from Cornell, and then I finished it in 2021. And after that, I thought that I wanted to give something back to the community. And so, and of course, being a bird watcher, I was extremely taken by all the feathers which we see on birds and all those things. And when I studied bird biology, I came to know a lot more about feathers, and I wanted to know even more. So that's how the idea of feather library came to my mind. And I would share my screen, and I would just walk you through my journey of feather library and what it's about, and what do we do basically. So just give me a minute. So I hope you all can see the screen.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So, in a way, Feather Library is very simple. It's what it says. It's a library of feathers. It's an online library of feathers. So, whenever you need to see something for reference, it is there to provide you the reference for Indian birds. Um, I think we already discussed this, but yeah, I have been related to birds for a long time. And I always say that I breathe birds. So I paint birds. I do anything which is to do with birds, and yeah, I enjoy that. So I was an architect, and I was a practicing architect, and like a hobby bird watcher, I used to uh, go out to the forests on weekends and take leaves and go on longer trips. And yeah, eventually one bird led to 10, 10 led to 50, 50 led to 100, 100 led to 1,000, and it never stopped. Um, and hoping it will never stop. So that's how I got into this entire. I was, unlike other people, I was not into birds since my childhood. I developed the hobby quite late, and but then when I got into it full fledgedly. So and then I just enjoy anything which has to do with birds. So since there are, many people are now joining the community of bird watching. So uh, so the question is, how do we identify between different birds? And then there are many answers, that the bill shape, the size, uh, the shape, uh, the colors, eyes, and so on. Uh, that's how we identify birds in the field, and that's what we have been doing, right? When we see a bird through binoculars, we first see the shape and size and the color, and we know that okay, this is this bird. And if it's birds like warblers, and we look at the finer details, and then we make the final idea of that, okay, this is this bird. And so then the question rose in my head, that what if those birds belong to same genus? In this case, cream colored cursor and Indian cursor. So the beak is almost similar, the legs are almost similar, the size is little different, but still the main identification factor in this case would be the coloration. And funnily enough, all the coloration in any bird comes through feathers. uh, there are no scales. Sometimes there is skin, but very few times. But most of the times, it's the feathers and the coloration of feathers which makes us help us identify the bird. And there's a funny image that if we had to see a bird without feathers, it would look something like this. And there is no way we would be able to identify that if there were no feathers. And that's how important feathers are for birding. And also, feathers are only there in birds, in no other species or no other family of any other type of class. Basically, the class aves, which is the birds, only those have feathers and no one else. So if there's a feather, it has to come from a bird, and vice versa. If it's a bird, it is covered in feathers. And that's how important, and that's how non-separable those two are. So I wanted to know more about feathers. And so basically, feathers are what makes a bird a bird. And there was this curiosity somewhere, that when most of the times we go out on trails, on birding trips, or in the jungles, on wildlife safaris, and we find feathers. And most of the times we tend to pick it up and see that we wonder that what this could have been belonged to, which bird this could have belonged to, and there is no as such, there is no reference for this. So that's when I was like, okay, what do I have to do if I want to know more about this? And there was some for North American birds, but not for Indian birds. And during lockdown, one silver bill came into my house, and I tried to release it, and it uh, uh, what do you call it? Lost a few feathers. They tend to lose feathers in fright when you hold a bird. So I got some flight feathers of a silver bill, and they were smaller than my little finger. And of course, I had seen uh, Indian peafowl or large feathers of an eagle or something like that. And there was this such a vast contrast just in Indian birds that the question rose in my head that, there should be something where I can go and see this thing. So where do I go? And I didn't have any answer. So I thought if there is nothing like that, then why don't I create something like that? And that's how the idea of feather library came into the picture. And if you if I just talk briefly about feathers, then actually the entire bird is made up of feathers, from the flight feathers, which are the primaries, secondaries as mentioned here, the tail feathers. These three are flight feathers, but coverts, belly, breast, neck, even eye rings are made up of feathers. So all these beautiful birds which we see, that we feel it's painted, it's all feathers. And so there's just a lot of work to do in this field, and yeah, we are just taking our first step. So these are the different types of the parts of the head, and except for the bill and the eye itself, everything else is feathers. So that's how the shape and the size and the colors and everything varies. And to give you that idea, small bird like purple sunbird, and a large bird which is Sarus crane, for example. So purple sunbird would have around 1000 feathers on one bird, if you count all the feathers. And bird like Sarus crane would have around 20 to 25,000 feathers on one bird. So uh, that's the variation which we are talking about. And uh, in India, we have now reached a stage where we really know our birds. But now, what is needed is to go a step closer to it and actually talk about the science of feathers. And that's what I'm trying to do. That there are patterns and so many things which we'll talk about just in a bit. But so yeah, you most of you would have seen purple sunbird, and you would know the size is this much, and just imagine it has around 1,500 feathers. So you can imagine what amount of data we are talking about. On each
Yes,
bird. Yes.
I think we have Shweta ma'am here, who is
Yes.
our ornithologist from Bhubaneswar,
Oh,
and
hello,
she
ma'am.
has some questions to ask you.
Should we take the question right now? Okay, sure.
Uh, Sorry, Mukulji. Sorry, it was really nice hearing. Isha ma'am, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Actually, the raise hand was by mistake. It was a mistake. Sorry. Please continue, ma'am. It's really a beautiful presentation. I'm enjoying it thoroughly.
Well,
Sorry.
no
Extremely
problem.
sorry. Actually, I'm traveling and by mistake it probably got touched.
No problem. We'll take questions by the end of the session.
Yeah, sure. I'll get in, but no question exactly now. I'm really sorry.
Okay, it's okay.
Okay. Let's continue.
Yeah. So, yeah, talking about feathers. So, what are these 1,000 feathers on such a small bird? So each bird consists of 6 type of feather, and that means each individual bird in the whole world will have these 6 types of feathers, um, in a way, no matter what, except some exceptions. But if you just generalize, then these are the types of feathers. So there is wing feather, which is very straightforward, the feathers which are on the wing. Tail feather, what makes the tail of the bird. These two will are together called as flight feathers. There are contour feathers, which are like the body feathers, basically, which are colorful feathers of a bird, of sunbird, for example. The purple is a contour feather. We'll talk a little more detail about this. Down feather, these makes the body feathers of the bird. And then there are bristles and phyloplumes, which are the sensory feathers of the birds. Because also we'll talk with the images. So I think that would be better. Um, if we talk about flight feathers, so it's pretty straightforward. Wing feathers, in case of this pied harrier, these are the wing feathers, uh, and these are the tail feathers. And these feathers are necessary in a bird to fly. So they are the most important feathers, because flight, as we know, is the most important thing for a bird. Um, Most of the birds, unless the flightless birds and penguins. But for most of the birds, so these feathers are the most crucial feathers on a bird's body. Uh, and then there are numbering systems and way to identify each feather of wing and tail, because they are very important. And if you want to know more about it, you can ask me personally. I won't go into the details of it, because this depends on the molting behavior of the bird, where all birds once a year they change their eh, all the feathers, and at least once a year. For birds who are going into breeding plumage and non-breeding plumage, who are changing the plumages, for them it's twice a year, or thrice a year for that matter. For many eagles, it's a continuous process which goes on for 4 or 5 years till they reach adulthood. Uh, and that's a whole science in itself, so I won't go into the details of it. But because of that molting sequence, there are numbering of those flight feathers. Um, Talking about body feathers, there are contour feathers and down feathers, which are there on the rest of the bird's body. So if you what you see here are mostly the body feathers, except some flight feathers which are seen here and here. Um, I like to give a very good example to explain this. What are down feathers and what are contour feathers? So uh, you guys know a down jacket which we wear, right? So that actually has down feathers, because they are the best insulators. So down feathers are simply to maintain birds' temperature and control birds' body temperature. And contour feather is like the skin of the jacket, so which gives the shape of the bird. So as you go from inside to outside in a bird's body, it will grow from down to semi plume, which is like half down half contour, to full contour, and that will just create a layers of feathers on a bird's body. uh, Most of the chicks has they have down feathers to keep them warm and insulated, and that's what is seen here in this image. But all the birds, outer side they would have contour feathers, inner side, as you go keep on going inside towards the body, it would start changing into more of the fluff which is of the down feather. And then there are sensory feathers. So there are bristles. So if you see barbet, these feathers which are here, or hornbills have eyelashes, or nightjars have bristles, owls have bristles, which are uh, sensory feathers, along with phyloplumes. And phyloplumes are something very curious for me because no one really knows that much about it. So these are the small feathers which you see here are the phyloplumes, and this is like the tail feather shaft. So they are like thinner than hair. Um, so feathers, once they are grown, they are a dead entity. It's like hair. So let's say if you cut hair from here, you would not know, right? Or we know that okay, the hair is being pulled because they are attached to our skin, and our skin has sensors which sends the message to the brain that okay, there's something happening here. Now imagine that not being there. Then how would a bird know? For example, that silver bill, which lost a few feathers. How would it know? How would it know that this feather is not there? Especially flight feathers, which are very necessary for their survival. So bristles are basically for food and movement sensory sensors, and phyloplumes are like sensors for feathers, that okay, this feather is not there and you need to send protein here to grow this feather again. So it works as our nerves, basically, if I can simplify it. And of course there are lots of variations depending on species to species, but just to give a brief idea about feathers, these are the 6 type of feathers which are there on almost every birds. Um, these are the basic details of a feather, and then there are barbs and barbules. So if you just do that to a feather, it will close. It's like a zipper. And this is a detailed sketch of how the feather functions. And when the bird preen themselves, we take preening shots, right? What they do is basically they uh, make these feathers in a proper way and shape so that they function properly for what they are supposed to. Um, when you go to a field, there are lots of ways to identify a feather. There's some terminology. There are bars, there are irregular bars, there are spotting, there are speckling, uh, there is border on the vein, which goes for most of the passerine birds, um, like border on the outside of the vein or something of that sort. And basically, depending on the family, the type of flight feathers and the patterns of flight feathers, they change. So, technically, for each bird, for each species, it's different, but we still have to go into the science of it, and that's what we are working on right now. Um, this is one question which I'm generally asked, so I just thought of bringing your attention to it, that feathers are both, they have pigment coloration and structural coloration. What it means, that the pigments which are melanin, for example, is known for its black color, right? So when there is a black color on a bird, it's mostly melanin, and then brown, gray, yellow, uh, shades of yellow, shades of reds, some reds. Um those things are basically pigments, so they are like actual colors. And blues, greens, and other colors are structural color. Basically, that means that when light falls on it and how we see it, it changes color according to that. So if you would have known, peacock has iridescence, like the shine and those things, right? It shifts from where you see it, how you see it, what light you see it in. So that's not the actual color. uh, and sometimes it's a combination of both, which creates a very complex coloration as far as feathers are concerned. Uh, but just to simplify things, let's say if it's a very strong flyer, like let's say flamingo or painted stork, all their flight feathers are black because melanin is supposed to be one of the strongest pigment, and so on and so forth. But just to give an example, that in case of strong flyers, it's more based on melanin, and then it keeps on changing species to species. What do we do? This was just background of what feathers are and what can be done. What do we do is, earlier times, this is how people used to study birds. Uh, Even Salim Ali, this is what he used to do at BNHS. And there would be drawers and drawers of dead birds. They would be shooting the birds, hunting the birds, stuffing it, and then studying it. Uh, Good news is we don't have to do that in order to study birds anymore. We can now shoot it in another way, which we all do and enjoy. So, but still, for things like feathers, and we can get a good idea about the basic behavior, the basic morphology of the bird, the basic coloration. But if you want to see, let's say, what are the flight feathers of pitta is like, then it's going to be very difficult unless and until you capture it in flight. And then also, it's not, all the details are not possible. And the the scientific research which needs to be done in order to understand all these things which I already spoke about, you need specimen based research. uh, so because of that, what is happening is that uh, new specimens are not coming in because of the law, of course. So after 1970, the hunting was banned, and whatever specimens are there, they are quite old. And then to study new things, let's say genetics or viruses, or for veterinary training, etc., we don't have new specimens. And especially as far as flight feathers are concerned, as you saw, round skins are closed, so you can't see actually the flight feathers, they are dried like that. So we came up with an idea that whenever a bird goes to a rescue center, that is because of there is some human intervention. At least a human has picked up the bird from somewhere and given it to the rescue center. And 50% of the times birds do not survive because birds are very uh, they tend to get trauma very easily. The larger the bird, the easier for them to survive, but the smaller the bird, it's more difficult. So if you want to save a bird, just let it be, don't touch it. That's what we say at the rescue center, that don't, it's okay, you let nature takes its course. But of course, we all feel that we want to contribute in some way, so we pick up the bird, we put it in a box, or we hold it in our hands and we take it to the rescue center. And in all these things, the bird gets so traumatized that it cannot survive this trauma of being handled by a human. So this is the statistics which I got from one rescue center, that in 6 months there are approximately 200 birds which die, and that's because of human intervention. The cause is also humans, and of course human has intervened in that bird's life. And so I thought that, and basically they throw it or burn it, the dead birds. And that's where the idea came, that this is a great way to get non-invasive specimens, because the birds have already died, they have died because of humans. So why don't we use those dead birds in order to create new data for the future of the science and the next generation? So basically we collaborated with some rescue centers, and the idea is that if we let's say in 1 year, if we tie up with 50 rescue centers across India, that's like we are talking about 20,000 new specimens per year. That's how high. And there are no rescue centers in most of the states yet. But still, these are the numbers which we are talking about. And it's completely non invasive. So whatever birds come to the rescue center, we try to get data out of it. We digitize the feathers and take measurements, create a proper curated samples, and it's not like round skin what you saw, but it's like the feather samples. And all can be seen on featherlibrary.com, which is open to all. Anyone can see it. Anyone can. So whenever you find a feather, you can just see it for your reference. If you think, okay, this might belong to a parakeet, and you can simply go to rose ring parakeet, open the feather, see if it matches your feather, and so forth. Uh, for example, as I gave you an example of Indian pitta, that how do I see the flight feathers of this bird? Because nothing is seen, everything is covered. And if you see flight feathers of Indian pitta, it's like this. So it has got amazing patterns of patches of white, patches of blue, patches of green, and even the tail has a pattern which one cannot see because it's always covered. And to study it even further, we go into the macro and the microscopic detail of each feather to understand the structure of each species. And for birds, it's even difficult because each species has different feathers, right? So, in fact, each specimen is different. So, this particular feather will not be the same for two Indian pittas. Depending if the bird is male or a female, breeding, non-breeding, adult, juvenile. There are so many variations, right? Which we can see it with our eyes when we shoot the birds, like when we click the birds. And that also changes the feather health, and there are so many tests which are attached to it, like uh, chemical isotopes, toxicology, etc., DNA sequencing. Um, and along with that, what we are also doing is we are measuring the entire bird. So it gives the basic dimension of the bird, it gives date of death, gender of the bird, location of the death, reason of death. Uh, for example, in this, its wing injury, the right wing was fractured and the bird could not survive it. Where I come from, Ahmedabad, there are so many kite string injuries and birds cannot survive. Uh, there was recently a bar-headed goose which died of kite string injury. So it also gives us a supporting conservation data that why the birds which are coming into the rescue centers, what are the reason why they are not surviving, why they are dying. There were 4 grey lag goose which came in together, all of them poisoning because of the pesticides. So there is also this data for conservation which is being collected and created, that what are the reasons why the birds are, they are coming to rescue centers, and what are the reasons they are dying, and how many birds die, which bird, and how many birds die to kite string, for example. There's a whole data if someone wants to ask that question, and there are lots of things which can go with this basic data set. Just to give you a few example, this is Asian coil female, um, and the flight feathers are quite amazing. uh, Nothing like which you would imagine this to be a coil. um, this is spotted owlet, and now if you see, so this also has bars and this also has bars, but if you see, these are like more patchy, rounded, and these feathers which are the small feathers are the new feathers which are growing. uh, so they were somehow damaged and they are again. So or the bird is molting, either way. And all these data which we find with the birds which are already dead, and there was an Amur falcon, and which is great because it gives us the idea that okay, at this time the bird was migrating through this area and it could not survive. But all three feathers, if you see, they are barred, but if you see the pattern, they are quite different. And this is what we are trying to establish, that for each bird, for each species, the feathers are different, and if we had some guide, then we would be able to identify all these feathers more easily and also use it for other streams of ornithology. And the idea is to create an extended specimen. So this is what an extended specimen is, that you earlier you had round skins, but now you have extended wing, you have DNA, you have chemical isotopes, you have got ectoparasites, you have got the CT scan, you have got the X-ray, you have got the feather details, you have got the biogeographic range, you have got the sound, and you have got the video and photo or videos like multimedia, and this whole thing makes now the digital specimen, which is called the extended specimen. So yeah, we are just taking one step forward for the future of ornithology. And thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. It was a wonderful session, ma'am.
Thank you.
In fact, I would love to. I would like to ask you, ma'am, because it's really hard for us to spot a bird and then take a photograph of it, and and we never see that bird again. So, how like uh, you will be defining those feathers in your library?
So, but right now, I mean, it's all going to matter on what birds come to the rescue centers. But the good thing is that all the common birds are very, very common in the rescue centers. So it's not like we are looking for a very uncommon or a rare bird in this case, because the basic data is also not there. For example, common myna. Recently, a paper got published on the feathers of common myna, but except that one paper which I know of, very less work has been done on actual feathers of birds. So we are talking about common myna and house crow, for example. House crow is not black. Uh, it's highly iridescent, purple, blue, brown color. So unless and until you see those feathers like that, it's very difficult for us to know that what are the colorations and all those things. So yeah.
Anyone would like to ask anything from our audience, please? Shweta ma'am? Hello, Shweta ma'am, are you around?
Yeah. I'm there.
Ma'am, if you want to
Hello.
ask anything.
Chana, actually that time I was traveling now, that by mistake the hand was raised at that time, but it was a lovely presentation, ma'am. I have heard of the Feather Library, never explored it exactly, but now this talk incites me a lot.
Thank you.
And while my doctorate is on birds of Koraput, so that time I had an extensive field study, and we were
Okay.
encountering a lot of bird feathers, but it was really difficult to identify those also.
Even I
So
can't
now,
many times, so it's okay. I can understand how
no,
difficult
that's
that
what
is.
now this feather library is actually a good reference point. That is what we never had.
Yes,
So this was the thing. So now we know where to go for this identifying feathers.
yes.
Because now time and again my
I think it's
students come in, ma'am,
Ma'am,
this
your voice is breaking.
got this
Ma'am, your voice is breaking.
feather in our campus. What bird it could be? Could it be a network issue? Now
Yeah,
it's
now
better.
yeah,
Maybe
now
the
it's better.
Wi-Fi connectivity issue was there.
Shweta ma'am, can you please come again?
Okay.
Because your question was not clear.
Now is it
Yeah.
is it audible clear now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I was saying this presentation actually gave a real good insight, and time and again we always have been getting into this confusion, like getting feathers on field and trying to identify what bird it could be. So since the feather library has such a beautiful curation, and this is a very good reference point for all of us to refer to in case when we are querying for any kind of feathers we are getting right now.
Yeah. So I think, ma'am, the best way to do it is first figure out what type of feather it is and then go further.
Yes, yes. The basic fundamental is what we are also teaching our students, like different types of feathers. What are the different types of feathers?
Yeah.
The contour feathers, the phyloplumes, your down feathers.
Yeah.
All these things are basically what we are teaching them about the plumage. But basically, coming to identification of certain feathers, actually, this is the feather library is a very good reference point.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yeah.
So thank you, Isha ji. Please.
Mukul sir is speaking something, but he's on mute.
Ma'am, suppose we find any feather on the field when we are like working basically, and we suppose we take a photograph of that particular feather, and is there any option yeah, opportunity that we can upload it in your library?
Not yet. I'm trying to
Hmm.
do that.
Hmm.
But I have to look into the legalities of it because
Huh.
feathers are trophies. So
Okay, right,
yeah.
right, right.
So I have to get permissions and everything. So I don't think it will be possible for everyone to do that.
Hmm.
Technically, it's not even allowed to pick up a feather otherwise. So when I did this, I had to get permission from each state's PCCF and Forest Department uh, because it was for education and science. But I still have to look into the legality of it. But if I can, I would love to make it a citizen science contributing sort of a thing where we can, discuss on the ID of that feather maybe or something of that sort. But there is a Facebook page which is feather identification of Indian birds, and feather library is also there on Instagram. So but I would like to say to everyone that whenever you take a photo, please put either your hand or some sort of scale in order to understand the size of the feather, because otherwise it's very difficult to gauge the size, especially in the plain feathers. So put your phone or put a pencil or put your finger or something that we know that okay, this is the approximate size. Because size, as I said, varies from this much to this much, so it's very difficult to know without a scale what is the size. um, and you can send it to me on Feather Library Instagram, or you can mail it to me. My email ID is there on the website, and I'll be happy to help. And if there are any questions related to feather or anything else, yes, I'm always there.
Thank you, Esha. Very informative. I learned a lot of new things which I didn't know till now. Thank you so much for your initiative.
Thank you.
So thank you, Isha ji, for a wonderful presentation and taking the show further. Uh, we are there as Exploring Natures. We are on Instagram, Exploring Nature 2021. Then we are on the Elon Musk platform as well by the name of Exploring Nat 007. YouTube, we are with the name Exploring Nature 2021, and we have our website, that is www.exploringnature.net. And again, these are different platforms, just showing the snapshots of certain social media platforms. We have our Facebook page, then by the name of Exploring Nature. Then we are on Google. Then we are on Instagram. So definitely, we are there on the different social media platforms. So but again, not only on social media, that is on the virtual world, we are there on the real ground level, and we are actually exploring and connecting people for the environment. And it is like we want to have a strong bond between the people in the natural world, so that it is for the betterment of the environment and of course for your our future generation. So thank you so much, everyone, for being there. And again, let us join our hands for this noble cause. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Thank you.